And we talk about damage left in a South Alabama town after this weekend's storms.
Plus, we're not out of the cold as we were talking about. We talk about when we typically see that last freeze in Alabama.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
I guess I should have said more specifically our part of Alabama, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cold weather's just hanging on, Tania, but you know, it helps to keep the temperatures down. You know, I've heard it so many times, it's like we go straight from winter to summer and we don't enjoy a spring.
Yeah, there's not really a spring. The rain comes, we get days where it's
Right.
like soaking wet weather that sticks around for us, but
Yeah.
these temperatures really just shoot up.
Yeah, this is, even though it's not spring, this is kind of our spring-like weather that we get to enjoy. And it's going to stay this way. Next couple of days, we got some more nice weather on the way. But again, let's talk a bit about that frost advisory. And by the way, we're back on daylight saving time. So, hey, we got some daylight out there right now. So that's nice to see. 64 degrees, some clouds there. That's a live look. That was from the University of Montevallo, one of our First Alert Sky Vision cameras. All right, times for sunset, 6:52 today. You can see our sunrise times at 7:02. So the time change in play now, and the temperatures out there certainly making a nice rebound. 65 Tuscaloosa, Birmingham. We're showing 64 at Columbiana, 61 for Anniston, but very dry conditions. And here's the thing, notice Coleman's at 59, Center at 58. It's going to be a fast tumble here as we continue through the evening, so plan for another big drop in temperatures. And the National Weather Service, they're issuing the cold weather products, the freeze warnings, the frost advisories, because we're back into the growing season. And you probably notice around the house a lot of plants already blooming. If you have any fruit trees, any sensitive vegetation you want to cover up, tonight's another night for that. Frost and freezing temperatures. In fact, we're going to talk more about this coming up in the First Alert weather calendar, but the middle of next week I'm seeing another chance for a frost and freezing temperatures. So keep that in mind if you're trying to make some plans there, planning on doing some gardening, planting. That's going to be a big story next week. But tomorrow morning, temperatures down into the mid to upper 30s, even for us to the south here around Marion and Brent and Centerville and Tuscaloosa, and notice Birmingham there and Alabaster 39. But to the north, we could drop close to freezing around Gadsden and Center, but it won't last long. Again, a big warm up on the way. We'll see those high temperatures back into the 70s. But next few days, we got a few nice days coming up here, and if you are making some outdoor plans, just note that the tree pollen levels, yeah, they're elevated right now. So you can see our sneeze meters in the high range at this time. Our low temperatures out there from our First Alert weather watchers today checking in. You can see there 28 degrees from Rick Freeman, 29 from Concord. John Talbot checking in with a morning low there, 30 from Oatman, Sarah Porter, 31 Tyler Young, Trustful. But we did drop to freezing in a lot of areas out there earlier today, but a very cold start to the day. But a big drop in temperatures after that system that brought all the wet weather last week. Check out this video of some storm damage that hit Dale County. Now, if you recall, we had a First Alert weather day this past Friday because we were concerned about possibility of severe storms and flooding. And I mentioned that threat for tornadoes, and we did unfortunately see this damage down in South Alabama. This happened on Saturday, the tail end of that system. This was the aftermath of a tornado that damaged about 10 homes. The National Weather Service, they've rated it an EF1 with maximum sustained winds or maximum wind gusts up to 105 miles per hour. That tornado hit about 10 miles east of Ozark. Thankfully, no one was injured, and folks there certainly weather ready. And from Nakalula Falls, stunning images from this past weekend. We had all the rainfall, some lovely views coming in right there. And this actually, I believe Bob Phillips shared that video with us. So I want to make sure we source the video there. That was from Bob Phillips sharing that video from Nakalula Falls. And I want to thank Bob for always sharing those videos. And this leads us to another image that we have from Niagara Falls. And this was shared from Mike McGough, shared this on my Facebook page, and you can see just a lovely halo there, one of those views, but a lot of waterfall pictures in my inbox today,
wow.
Tania. There's some lovely views. Have you ever been to Niagara Falls?
I have, yes. Wait. Yes, I have.
I've never been. I want to check it out sometime.
But I haven't seen it from the Canadian side, though. You know how you can see it from either side. So I was on the U.S. side, but I heard that the Canadian side is a little bit better. So definitely want to make my way up there. Got to get that passport. But let's talk about weather around the world. At least 5 people have died and several remain missing after heavy rainfall over the weekend in southeast France. This comes after Storm Monica swept through the area over the weekend. Some places saw more than 11 inches of rain in just 48 hours. Which triggered severe flooding, as you can see in this video. It also swept away cars and damaged bridges, according to local authorities. France's meteorological agency placed 7 departments on an orange weather alert Saturday, but as of today, they were out of danger. And in Indonesia, 26 people have died and more than 39,000 people were impacted by floods and landslides. This comes after monsoon rains and rising rivers have submerged 9 districts and cities in the West Sumatra province since last Thursday. Well, in 30 seconds, we take a check-in on our radar and current conditions and get a sneak peek on how NASA is preparing for the upcoming eclipse in just a few short weeks. Stay with us.
And just want to make a quick correction. That photo that we shared was from Steve McElroy. I meant to share earlier. We had some lovely weather photos over the weekend, but tonight a great opportunity to check out the International Space Station with this weather calmer. We always love to share the space station flyover times. 8:39 tonight, visible for 2 minutes, appears to the south-southwest, and then tomorrow 7:51 appears to the south-southwest, visible for 5 minutes. So you'll have an even better opportunity tomorrow night. I know there's a few clouds out there, but a little bit of a sky watching news to pass along. Of course, a chilly night, frost in the morning, and we do have that rain chance coming up later in the week that we'll talk about in the 7-day forecast.
Thanks, Wes. And as we continue to talk about the great American eclipse, meteorologist Lauren Linehan got the opportunity to speak with a scientist at NASA about how this eclipse is different than the total solar eclipse in 2017 and what they're hoping to study from it.
From coast to coast, people will see the moon slowly move in front of the sun, blocking some of its light in a partial eclipse. But for more than 31 million people across 15 states, they will see the moon completely cover the sun and a total solar eclipse briefly turning day into night. The contiguous United States won't see another total solar eclipse until 2044. Join us now is NASA expert Dr. Alex Lockwood to tell us more. Thank you for joining us today, Alex.
Thanks for having me.
You know, we had a recent total solar eclipse. Actually, we've had a couple here, and people across the U.S. were treated to a solar eclipse back in 2017. But how is this one in April different from the one in 2017?
Yes, well, the word is more. This time around, we have more minutes of totality. In 2017, you had about 2 minutes of darkness. This time, folks on the path will get up to 4.5 minutes of the total solar eclipse. There are more people who are going to get to witness it because, as you said, over 30 million people live along that path, and a lot more are going to come to the path to see it. And we're going to see more solar activity. So when the moon passes in front of the sun, we're going to see the outer layer of the sun called the corona. And we expect this time around to see a lot more of those wispy shapes coming off because the sun is entering its most active phase of an 11-year cycle.
That's so interesting. So what are you all as scientists going to be looking for while this happens?
So during an eclipse is really the only time that we can study that outer atmosphere of the sun called the corona. So there's different layers, the different lower, middle, and outer part of the corona. We can study all of those during an eclipse. And that is really where the solar irradiation is entering into space, creating what we call space weather that then affects the Earth. It'll affect satellites. There's particles and bursts of energy coming off of the sun that affect us here on Earth. And scientists study it all the time to make sure that we are safe and that all of our systems are going to be protected from these bursts of solar energy.
And you know, Dr. Lockwood, we're talking about the impacts the total solar eclipse would have on humans, but what about animals? How do they react when this happens?
Yeah, it is really interesting because, as we said, we're basically creating a few minutes of nighttime during the day. So you may see foxes, you may see bats come out because they think it's night. You'll hear a lot of sounds of animals rustling at dusk. Birds will start twittering. So the experience of the total solar eclipse is not just a visual one, but it's audio one. You can hear it, you can feel it. It will get cold. It is a full sensory experience to witness a total solar eclipse.
Oh, I love that. I've got to catch one of these years. Well, it's still ahead. We continue to talk about tomorrow's cooler temperatures, as well as how much rain we could be expecting by this weekend. Stay tuned for First Alert Weather Extra. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt with the talk of more frost tonight. We had some freezing temperatures in parts of the area today as we look ahead to the growing season here. When do we typically see that last freeze around the state? Matt and Mickey check in now to show you when.
Mickey.
Yeah, Matt,
It was a little weird this morning because it took forever for the sun to finally rise, but it did.
it's crazy.
That daylight saving time always messes us up.
It is a little bit bizarre that first weekend. I'm a little tired. About you?
Yeah, a little tired, but
Yeah.
you know what? We still had a really nice sunrise this morning.
It was
We had a
nice.
few photos sent in. This one's from Lay Lake. Sue Owen sent this in. Beautiful.
Sue, that is lovely, man.
Like
Sue's
it.
got it going on there at Lay Lake. And then we've got Sandra Martin on Straight Mountain, Alabama. So she sent that in to our First Alert weather app. A lovely sunrise there as well.
It was lovely, but it was a cold sunrise. You know, Fred and Lauren over the weekend were mentioning that freeze warning that was in effect earlier this morning, and it pretty much verified a lot of spots below freezing.
Yeah, we had temps in the 20s in Gadsden and Haleyville and Pell City. A little bit warmer, but we had freeze warnings and frost advisories that were posted.
Yeah, just a degree above freezing in Tuscaloosa. Birmingham hit a low of 34. And of course, our weather watchers gave us several reports that were also below freezing.
Yeah, there in Piedmont, Rick Friedman was frozen solid together with John Talbot in Concord and Sarah Porter in Oakman, Johnny Capps in Lincoln, and also Tyler Young and Ronald Hughes reporting in. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so you probably noticed they issued those frost advisories, freeze warnings. Well, they do this usually right around March 15th, but because it's been so warm and things have already been blooming, they actually started the frost and freeze program, the Birmingham Weather Service, on March 6th.
Yeah, we've had some really nice warm temperatures, and we always know it's going to be cold after a big warm-up.
Yep.
So it'll be continuing through the growing season. It ends the growing season in November in the fall. We likely, of course, won't get any freezing temperatures in the summertime.
So a lot of people are wondering, in the wintertime it's below freezing. Why isn't there a freeze warning? Well, there's no more growing season, so they stopped issuing it. But if there's sensitive plants, anything that's growing agriculture-wise, that's when they will issue those frost and freeze warnings so we can make those necessary precautions and protect them. Of course, there could be a frost again tonight, which you might want to cover up those plants and bring those pets inside. But let's talk about the latest freeze dates. We're entering the middle part of March. When do we typically see our last freeze date? Well, last year, our last freeze occurred March 21st, but you can see we can get some freezes even going into early April. Check out 2014. We had a freeze back on April 16th. It's pretty late.
I remember snow in April.
Yeah, that can also happen. So here's a look at those late freeze facts. The earliest last freeze, so the last freezing temperatures in 1945 actually happened on February 3rd.
And our last freeze was April 23rd of 1986.
Yep. And on average, we'll typically see that last freeze on March 25th. So overall, in summary, we can still get some late freezes in April. There's still a chance we could see some cool air maybe even go into next week. So it's not quite yet over when it comes to some cold mornings.
So tomorrow morning, take care of your blooming plants.
And bring those pets inside so they can stay warm.
And a lot of folks have asked me about blackberry winter, and that's typically in May. That's when sometimes we can see frost as late as May here in Alabama. I've seen that many times. 65 right now, a live look from the McQuain Science Center, but it turned out to be a beautiful day, and it's going to be even nicer for tomorrow. One thing I noticed today, and I could see a little bit of it here on the camera at Adair Tire here from the First Alert Sky Vision. Did you notice some of the clouds almost had kind of a fibrous texture today? There's a little bit of moisture trying to precipitate out of these clouds, but it's evaporating. So some of these clouds, they almost look kind of like what we call fall streaks you see in the area, but I noticed some of that out there happening today. Another word for it, virga. You may have heard us mention that term, but some clouds out there impacting certainly our sunset views today, but you can tell we have some light. This is from Nectar, noticing a couple of fires. You see some smoke plumes, a couple of burns happening there in the distance you can see, but be careful out there. It just doesn't take long. I know it rained a lot on Friday, but you get the breezy conditions like we had on Saturday, and it can dry things out in a hurry. But a perfect evening for some baseball. Looks like we got some Little League happening here at Helena, and out there at the sports complex, a lovely view there. First Alert Sky Vision, 61 degrees. But a frost advisory goes into effect tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. until 9 o'clock, mid to upper 30s. Protect the plants, bring the pets indoors. Make sure everybody has a warm spot tonight. You'll need to crank up that thermostat again. I know it felt nice in the afternoon, but dial up the heat for early tomorrow. The temperatures for the early morning will be above freezing for most of us, except far northeast, I think around Center, Gadsden, Glencoe, Hoax Bluff, around ball play areas like Piedmont. We could drop close to freezing some of the outlying areas, but we get into the afternoon up to 70 degrees there. Look at Centerville, 71, 69 around Alabaster and Pell City tomorrow. Nice warm up later in the day. Still some clouds mixing in at times, but we stay dry dry. Tomorrow looks like Wednesday, mid-70s with sunshine. Gorgeous day on Wednesday. Circle Wednesday and Thursday as well. I think we get through most of the day until Thursday night. Things start to change. We have a system that's going to move in by early Friday, and we might get what we call an MCS. We call them mesoscale convective systems, these clusters of storms. We could see one of those that might move in by early Friday, bring some gusty winds, maybe some hail producers. We'll have to watch out for that and some heavy rain. That possibility is there, but this is going to leave us with some periods of wet weather. It looks like late on Friday, and then this weekend, let's talk about Saturday. Chance that we could see some showers in the morning and by the evening. We might catch some breaks during the day, mostly cloudy, but the way the models are looking right now, I just can't rule out some wet weather early morning and into the evening. And we'll do it again on Sunday. We'll wake up to some rain, probably have some wet weather around late Saturday night, maybe even a rumble of thunder there on Sunday. This model, this is the American model, it has wet weather continuing into Monday of next week. Now, the European model has us drying out by Monday, but can't rule out some leftover rain and storms into the start of next week. So enjoy these dry days that we have. Certainly going to turn a bit more unsettled later in the week. Again, tomorrow up to near 70 during the afternoon, and you can see those rain chances up to 80% there on Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. A pretty good chance we're going to see some wet weather. So check the First Alert weather app. Check in with us for updates as we fine-tune that long-range forecast. And speaking of the long-range forecast, right now it's time to check in on the First Alert weather calendar with meteorologist Tania Michelle. And Tania, next week, another chance that we could see some frost and freezing temperatures.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, we can see these cold temperatures even early into April. So we're not completely done with getting rid of that winter weather just yet. So hold on to those heavy coats, maybe even the hats as well. But you're also going to want to hold on to that umbrella and rain jacket, especially for the end of this upcoming week. We have the chance for rain and even possible embedded thunderstorms by Friday. That's March the 15th. And some wet weather sticking around for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday on St. Patrick's Day. And next Monday as well. Monday, March the 18th, another chance to see some rain and even some storms in the forecast. But as you look here, though, Tuesday and Wednesday of next week are looking a little bit drier before we have another chance for rain. We're still in this pattern. We're starting to see that wet weather returning for us by the end of every work week. It's like, can we get a dry weekend? Well, as of right now, March the 23rd and March the 24th do look dry. Maybe a few clouds around by then, but at least we're looking at drier conditions. So that is a look at our First Alert weather calendar. We're probably looking dry at least for March the 25th, but here's a quick look at our 8 to 14 day rainfall outlook. So some portions of the United States going to see near average rainfall, but majority of the U.S., including us here at home, looking at above average rainfall once again between March 19th through March 25th. Now, as far as those temperatures, well, we can likely see some more cold days because between March 19th and March 25th, we're still looking at a possibility to see below average temperatures. So more cold conditions in our forecast. We gave you the first alert next week. There could be some mornings where we might see some more frost develop and temperatures in the low 30s and possibly mid 30s. So once again, don't get rid of that umbrella, that rain jacket, but don't get rid of the heavy coat either because we do have more chances for rain. But I actually want to talk about this because this weekend on Sunday, I had the pleasure of speaking and encouraging the Heritage Girls group here in Birmingham. Take a look at this video. They were so cute. They all got a copy of my book, Weather Wonders, Exploring the Skies with Mom, and it was such a great time. Me and the kids took a tour of the station, and they actually get to start off Women's History Month by earning their weather badge. And now this only comes after they took a tour of the station. They learned about weather. We talked about severe weather safety. They even gave us some cupcakes, as you see right here on our screen. I didn't see any left, so our employees, Wes, probably... Wes said he didn't see the cupcakes either, and I didn't get one either, so they probably snagged those cupcakes, but it was so much fun. I enjoyed having them around here, so they learned a lot as well. But don't go anywhere because we'll be back with a final look here of First Alert Weather Extra right after the break.
Did you put any weather pictures in the show?
Besides the one.
And see, that's what happens. We don't. Let me see.
I think we put the graphic. Okay. There you go.
Is that the ones Matt and Mickey showed from 4 days ago?